Welcome to the online classes of biology. So, we started with the chapter How do organisms reproduce? And in that, we have seen the difference between sexual and asexual reproduction, the need of copying the DNA, and during this copying, okay, there will be variation produced, and these variations are useful for what evolution. All these topics we have seen, okay, and also we have seen the different types of asexual reproduction done by various organisms like unicellular and multicellular organism. So in unicellular organism like amoeba, they undergo what? Fission, okay, that is binary fission. And organisms like a plasmodium, they undergo what? Multiple fission. And I have explained you regeneration, isn't it? Fragmentation. Then I have explained you about fragmentation where it takes place in Spirogyra, isn't it? And regeneration is the process by which, okay, from the cut body parts, fully matured, fully differentiated organisms can arise. Okay, so regeneration we have seen, especially in planaria, then budding in what? Hydra and in yeast. And I have also explained you about the vegetative propagation, isn't it? Like what? Some of the parts of the plant like roots, stem, leaves, etc., they are also taking part in reproduction. That kind of reproduction is known as what? Vegetative propagation. Example, from leaves, bryophyllum produces what? New plants, isn't it? Then the plants like rose, okay, grapes, etc., they can propagate. They can be propagated by their stem cuttings, isn't it? And then what? There are artificial vegetative propagation. Artificial vegetative propagation means what? Where human being, okay, they do some methods like what? Layering or grafting. Layering means what? It's a mechanism to induce rooting when the branch is still attached to the parent plant. Okay, so a cut or a wound is made in the plant, and if it is covered with soil, okay, a small wound that is just what? Cutting the bark of the tree, and then if we cover that part with soil, what will happen? Roots will arise. Understood? So this process is called what? Layering. Understood? So layering. Then what? Grafting. Have you heard about grafted plants? Okay, grafted plants means your two different plants will be joined. Okay, so the plant with the root system is known as the stalk. Okay, and the plant which is joined to the stalk is known as scion. Understood? So like this, if you have a particular plant with roots, okay, or a plant which is grown from seed, if you are having that, you can cut that and cut the shoot of that, okay, and you can join any other shoot to this, so that the plant, when it is grown, it will show the symptom or the characteristic of what? The scion, not of the stalk. Understood? So like this, what? Artificial vegetative propagation, that is, property of vegetative propagation is used in the what? The propagation programs or plant breeding programs. So what are they? Layering or grafting. Okay, so layering means what? Inducing roots, okay, in the branches of the plant while it is attached to the parent plant. Understood? So air layering is there. Then what? Other in the ground itself, okay, layering can be induced. So layering can be done. So layering means what? Inducing the roots. So how you will induce? By making a cut, okay, small cut in the plant, and then if you are covering that part with soil, roots will arise. Clear? Grafting means what? It's a type of artificial vegetative propagation. In this, two different plants, you can see from plant nurseries and all, you will get what? Grafted plants, grafted mangoes and all, they will bear fruits within 2 to 3 years. Okay, means they are already grown means the scion. Scion is what? The part which is attached to the stalk. Stalk is what? The part which is having the roots. Okay, so as they are what the scion completed their vegetative phase, they are giving flowers in their parent plant, and from that only we are taking it and attaching to the parent plant. So what will happen means to the stalk plant, parent plant, not stalk. Okay, so what will happen, it will give fruits very easily. So the plants raised by vegetative propagation can bear flowers and fruits earlier than those of that of the plants produced from seeds. Why? Seeds, when they are growing, from the seeds, when the plants are growing, they have to complete the vegetative phase, isn't it? Then only they can go for the reproductive phase, isn't it? So such methods is known as what? Vegetative propagation method. So the advantage of vegetative propagation is the plants produced by this method can bear flowers and fruits earlier. Okay, then that is only method of propagation in plants like which will not produce any seeds, like banana, they won't produce any seeds, isn't it? So in such kind of plants it is the only method. Okay, and in other plants also, orange, rose, jasmine, etc., also we can use this method. Okay, another important advantage of vegetative reproduction is that the plants produced will be genetically similar, because in sexual reproduction we have already seen that there is what? Variation can occur during sexual reproduction, isn't it? So if we collect the seeds from a plant, it is means a high yielding or high producing plant. It's not sure that in the next generation grown from the seeds will have the same quality, because they are genetically different due to variation, okay, occurring during the sexual reproduction. So in vegetative reproduction it is ensured that the plants produced will be genetically similar to their parents. So what will happen? There will be no variation. Okay, the same quality of the what organisms, means the parents, will be shown in the offspring also. Okay, so these are advantages of vegetative propagation. So about tissue culture also I have told, isn't it? Means from a single tissue a number of plants can be produced by this method. So for that what we have to do? We have to place the plant part in or tissue. Okay, very small part is enough, and that will be placed in the artificial medium, and they grow to a mass of cells. What are they known as? Callus. Okay, a mass of cells called callus will be formed, and then callus will be transferred to another medium containing hormones for growth and differentiation. Understood? So callus is what? Just a group of cells, and that will be, from that callus we can cut it and can transfer into some other medium containing different hormones. So there what happened? The growth and differentiation takes place, and then from that, okay, means roots will produce and then shoots will produce. So this plant can be cut and can be grown to the fields. So this is also known as what? The micro propagation, because from a very small part of the plant, many plants, thousands of plants can be produced by this method. Understood? And another advantage is that the plants produced from this, okay, due to tissue culture, can be disease free also. If a plant is having what? Conventional disease, any viral disease, then we can take the meristematic tissues where there is no virus. Okay, so that tissues we can isolate and can use for tissue culture. Understood? So this is what the advantage of what? Tissue culture. Is it clear? Then we have also seen that about the spore formation. Okay, where it takes place? In rhizopus. Okay, in rhizopus it takes place, and in rhizopus we have seen that the hypha usually they grow normal horizontally to the substratum, and some of them will become erect, and now we call it as what? These are known as sporangiophores. What are they? Sporangiophores. And the sporangiophores will have what? Sporangium on its end. Okay, this bulb-like structures. And when the sporangium bursts, what will happen? Spores will be released. Okay, spores will be released from the sporangium. So this is what spore formation. And the spores, when they get a new contact, okay, what will happen? They will grow into new organism. Understood? So this is what the various asexual methods of reproduction. Now, sexual reproduction we have seen. In them, there are there are two types of parents. Both the male parent and the female parent will be there. Understood? And there is copying of the DNA. Okay, copying of DNA takes place, and as copying of DNA is not absolutely accurate, okay, there will be certain errors, and that will be the source of variation in the population. Understood? So there can be some error or mistakes, and that will result in the production of variation, and that is very important for what the evolution to takes place. Okay, or for the survival of the species, it is very important. Understood? So as the copying DNA copying mechanism is not accurately, okay, or accurately takes place. So what actually happens there? There is a scope for the generation of variation, and it is a very slow process. Okay, so if the DNA copying mechanism were to be less accurate, okay, many of the resulted DNA may not be able to survive, isn't it? They may die. So this problem is, so as all of these variations are in living individuals, okay, they are not having that much bad effects. Okay, so each new variation made in a DNA copy is already having variation that is accumulated from their parents, and now this two different individuals in a population will have so different patterns of accumulated variation. Means the variations formed in one individual may be different from the other one, isn't it? And so because of this, there are two individuals in a population is not same, they'll be different only. Understood? So there will be difference, and all these variations are in the living individuals. It is assured that they will not have any bad effect and they can survive. Understood? And like this, variations I told from two different individuals will be different. Understood? Variations found in two different individual will be different, and when this two what combination of variations from two or more individuals will create more variations or new recombination. Understood? So each like this, each combination will be new, and that is the reason in sexual reproduction the organisms formed will be entirely different. Okay, because when a small change occurs, that is already occurring in the individual that already acquired variations from generation. Understood? Various generations. So what will happen? Like this, the accumulation of variation takes place in an individual, and it is quite different from the other one. Okay, so we have already discussed why the amount of DNA should be half during the gamete formation. Why it should be made half, isn't it? Why? Because if the gametes are having half number of chromosomes, then only after their fusion also the amount of DNA will be same as that of the what the parent cell, and this is the reason meiosis is involved in the process of sexual reproduction, isn't it? During sexual reproduction, you can see that the cell division involved is meiosis, and during this, what happened? The chromosome number will be halved in the gametic cell, so that after the fusion of this male and female gametes, the number of chromosomes or the DNA content in the new organism also will be same as that of the parent. Is it clear? So the product formed by the fusion of male and female gamete is known as zygote, isn't it? Zygote. And it is the gametes, on the other hand, they will have half the chromosome number, isn't it? They are having only half chromosome number. Understood? Uh, and in lower organism, when you see, the germ cells will be almost similar. Okay, the male and female gametes will be similar. But in organisms with more complicated body structure, okay, their germ cells are different. Female germ cells, that is, the egg will be large and they might be containing more food. Okay, and the other one will be small and motile, that is, sperm will be always motile and smaller, and the egg, the female gamete, will be large in size and that will be having more food, okay, food components in them. And the motile germ cell is known as the male gamete, and the germ cell containing the stored food is known as the female gamete. Understood? So gametes, you understood now? There are two types of gametes, male and female. Understood? Male gamete will be small in size and it will be motile, and the female gamete is large in size and they contain more food. Okay, and the female gamete is known as egg or ovum and the male gamete is known as sperms, isn't it? So like this, what in sexual reproduction, what there is variation, and the variation, when it is accumulated over generation, okay, the individuals in a population will be different. And I have also said about the gametes, okay, two different types of gametes. Hope this much is clear. We will continue with the sexual reproduction in flowering plants in the next class. Thank you.